Shalom, shalom, Yasharal. Shalom, shalom, Ashpaka. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. Praise Yah. Hope everybody is having a most awesome, what are we on now? Going into the 5th day of the week. Praise YAHUAH for that. And just wanted to, share a little word that YAHUAH's been visiting to my mind, because some words that, I receive from YAHUAH that we receive, I'm sure like a lot of us do. If we get it once, okay, maybe it was just meant for me. I might forget it. If he caused me to forget it, it wasn't meant to be. But if it comes back a second time, okay, maybe I need to share it. But then something might happen again and I might forget it. But then all of a sudden it brings it back a third time. Well, you better share that word. Because I feel like that's serious. We're going to be held accountable. And right now I'm actually at Jack in the Box. I'm with my brother Norberto. He's been staying with me, and he's actually about to head back to Orlando, Florida. He's bouncing out of here. I appreciate his company, his fellowship, his YAHUSHA manifestations, that he's been for me a dear brother. One that I can say that I felt like was definitely like a best friend, a best brother, a best cousin type vibe that I haven't had since like 1999. Since like, my cousins and my best friends and my brother when we were growing up as kids. Like once I started getting, turned into a teenager, we all started getting interested in girls, and we could, we sort of kind of hardened our own hearts towards each other, because we did that to ourselves. I did that to myself. We separated ourselves because we were more interested in something else. We gave ourselves to a lust, a desire, much like a drug addiction, like a porn addiction. Well, there was actually this porn addiction, video game addictions, just girl addictions, just girl crazy addiction, high school stuff. And then we just kind of faltered in a sense. And a lot of it had to do with like separating myself, because at that time YAHUAH was calling me, bringing me into his past. So I started of course looking like the hypocrite, like always, because you're messing up, you're calling out to YAHUAH to deliver you. He delivers you, and you're ready to tell everybody about it. But then they're like, dude, you were just like smoking weed and going to jail, and how you gonna tell me about the word and the Bible? You just got out of jail. And that's who YAHUAH chooses, though. He sees those people that have a heart for him. Hold on, let's get Norberto to say what's up. Say hi to Norberto. Shalom, shalom. What's up, brother? Aquí. He got himself a little shake. Yeah. Sorry, man. I felt the inclination to go live. But I was just talking a little bit about testimony. But yeah, like what I was saying. You want to go that way? Yeah, we'll go to Waterfront Park. So yeah, YAHUAH calls a lot of times the scum of the world, the despised, the weak to shame the mighty, the ones who are like the losers, the nothing to shame those who think they're wise, and all that kind of stuff, right? The underdogs. And so he looks at the heart. So even at a young age, like I started messing up early, everybody knows that. But my heart was sincere. I was sincerely making mistakes. I was just sincerely messing up, and like crying out to YAHUAH to forgive me, to restore me, to, fix it. And I repent, I'll stop. And he would. And, I felt such a ruach of like, he would reveal things to me, but I just didn't know how to explain it at that time. I was already knowing him like I do now, but I just didn't know how to speak about it. But I would just tell people, man, you got to give your life to YAHUSHA and become a believer and a follower, and get baptized and become a Christian. But I can explain the relationship, because at the time it was just something you didn't really talk about. You felt weird about talking about it. But at the same time, you would look like the hypocrite, because the enemy, knowing that you had a zeal to like share the word, to manifest anything kingdom-minded, he was going to always try to find a way to make you look bad, set you up for failure, set up traps and snares to, make you look like a hypocrite. And so that's how this high has been. You know, it's been a walk of like ups and downs. You know, getting on the right path, stumbling. But you look at who YAHUSHA called, and all the ones he called were the ones that had like the worst chance. People don't know that. Rakata. People don't know that about the Tamadim he chose. He chose the ones that had the worst chance, so no one can make any excuses. You know, here he had Peter, he was stubborn, lacked understanding. Everybody had their issues, you know, but you can kind of pick up on it. And he chose them because they're unlearned, poor, you know, people from just bad backgrounds had issues, and they were demon possessed, right? Like Mary of Magdala or whatever, Magdalene. So like everybody had an issue, like bad, and he chose them to show, you know, I could take these people and refine them and make them like gold, and no one has an excuse. Anyways, so that being said, like the Psalm says about David, he says 7 times a righteous man falls and gets back up, but the wicked shall be utterly destroyed, like they perish. You know, 7 times a righteous man falls and gets back up. Like he's sincere about repentance. He knows he messed up. He's sincere in his heart. His heart's broken about his sin, and he means to come back. Like he wants to be saved, be perfect as YAHUSHA is perfect. So now, to get into the message about what this is really about, this is the word that YAHUWAH has been putting on my heart. Check out the view real quick. Well, you can't really tell. Yeah, it's cool. We'll look at it later. So this is the word that YAHUSHA put in my heart the past few days, so I gotta like speak on it. And he added to it so I can get more understanding, because I just didn't want to speak on it. So praise God, he kind of affirmed the word for me. And it has to do with balance, right? I'll just get to the point. Lately at work, I've been doing things where I have to balance myself on the ladder, and I'm getting stronger. A lot of things have been manifesting this message. And one of the things I've been getting trained up in work, like what I've been talking about, is how to submit to authority and, you know, that kind of thing. But another thing I'm learning, it's not just about authority and being humble, but it's also about like how to be more like, you know what I'm saying, like separated, right? Because we're called to be Kadash, you know, because I did my message on like whoredom, right? Like don't be a whore, don't be up trying to like get on people and like, you know, show them all that love. And basically this is the best way I can start it out to really get what I'm trying to say. Some people naturally have so much love to give, they can love the worst person, you know, they can see the good in everybody. And so they feel, and this is me I'm talking about, that, you know, they've arrived. You know, we feel like we've arrived because, you know, we can love the worst person, and we think that's what YAHUSHA's like, and that we love our enemies, that we can forgive anybody, and all that kind of thing. And so we think we've arrived. But the problem with that YAHUSHA is now showing me, is that there comes a time when you're dealing with people, you're long suffering, your enemy who hates you and doesn't like the word, but yet you're still being their friend. You're still treating them like a friend. You're still showing them love because you're still trying to win them. And like the word says, a friend of the world is enmity with YAHUWAH. And I think he's just revealing this to me right now. So I know I'm supposed to be on here. He's revealing to me that I'm recompensing right now all the times that I've befriended the world. When I was a believer following YAHUSHA, I was whoring still, like doing both. And I was in enmity with YAHUWAH. I was whoring. And so he causes us to recompense. And right now he's showing me, he's letting me know right now live, like I'm just not having a realization, revelation. He's allowing me to recompense. He's recompensing me by, you know, like in my workplace, you know, keeping me to myself. because basically he's having me make up for all the times that I didn't, because I'm really naturally easily able to just be out there and be positive, be outgoing, talk to everybody, and feel like I need to like be on everybody, like I'm some kind of special light. And that's not the case, you know. And he has a bunch of people that at my job that kind of manifest like different traits about what I used to be like. They manifest different characteristics of how I used to be. It's like the Malachim, the messengers of Yahuwah in disguise. Whether they know it or not, or whether, you know, in one dimension it is, and it's complex. But, you know, I used to be the guy, like, I would have to be like, hey man, you alright? Like, just make sure everybody's feeling okay. But then, you know, there's a guy there that he allows to manifest that almost in an exaggerated way, so that I can see what I was like, and I can see that's almost too much. You know, like seeing somebody, you know, like, hey, you okay? You doing all right? You know, it's almost like he does it sarcastically, like to mock me, like how I was, because now I'm ready to receive it. And it's sort of like, Yahuwah's like, how does that look to you? I'm like, it looks like too much. He's like, that's what you were like. And I'm like, wow, really? And he's like, yeah. And it's basically like the dude is demonstrating that it makes you feel like you're insecure, like he thinks you're insecure, like you need his like love, you need his attention to make you feel better, like we can't be a man and just like get it all together on our own and our own strength or in Yahusha. Like he has something special we need from him, you know. And I'm like, dang. And that's kind of what I was doing. But it's sort of like when you're doing that to the world, and it says don't be a friend of the world, that's enmity to Yahuwah, you know what I'm saying, then that's whoredom. You gotta make that back. You gotta pay that back. You have to pay the last penny. So, man, I really have to pay a lot back. And it's a narrow gate. He showed me like his standards. And so right now, Yahuwah is revealing himself to me like a black daddy, like a black, like stern, like no BS. Like if you ever seen that movie, Menace to Society, you know, that strict dad, and you know that strict dad, like that's Yahuwah. That's how he's like. And I'm like, man, he's really like that, because I'm seeing it. I can feel his presence, and he's humbling me, and he's more upset with me. That's why I say, like, when you're going through something, like you feel like someone's oppressing you, harassing you. They may not be harassing or oppressing you. That might need to be what you need to go through. You might need to be humble. He might be upset with you. Yahuwah might be upset with you for all the past things you've done. It might be something from your past that he was upset about you with, that he hasn't dealt with about you, that he's just now coming around to it. Like, by the way, you know, years ago when you were like this or like that, you know, I didn't like that. And so now he's manifesting through that. He's manifesting that to you through somebody by acting like he's playing hard to get, like you got to earn his like approval, like he's like kind of upset with you kind of vibe, like he ain't really trusting you, he ain't really wanting to be cool with you, because it's not really him, it's Yahusha in him, and one dynamic manifesting something that he's still upset with you about. For example, this just might be me overthinking. I'm going to manifest and say everything I got to say, because I want to make sure I leave no opportunity for anybody to miss a word on something that they might need to reflect on in their walk, because it's deep. And Yahuwah's giving me a complex mind to hold all of this. I may not be able to retain the simplest things at work or here or there, but I can maintain the word of Yah, complex lessons. And so, let me give you an example. Let's say maybe I deceived myself, or I was deceived in some kind of way and thought I was supposed to quit my job at a certain point. Like I felt like Yahuwah told me to leave. Like literally there were testings. Like for example, some of the past testings was like, I felt like he spoke to me, no matter what happens, don't quit this job, because I'm going to have you stick at this one like for the long haul. And then let's just say, one night there was a blood moon, and we crossed the black cat, And then the next day, you know, there was a big traffic jam like never before, and there was cops all over the streets, and like it was like, and I think I did a video on that. Well, I was live when that happened. It was like a 2-hour traffic jam, and there was the blood moon and the black cat the night before, and I don't know, I was like, man, I don't think he wants me to. Well, all of a sudden, like, I couldn't get a job ever since then. After that, all of a sudden, like, some things go down that I'm supposed to have something pending on my background, so I shouldn't even be able to get a job. Well, he finally allowed me to get a job right away with a company that didn't even check my background. They just started me. So that's already a lot, because I never had a job hire me without doing a background check. All of a sudden, I get something on my background, and this job hires me without doing a background check. Tell me that ain't Yahuwah. Did you catch what I'm saying? So everything about this place has to be manifesting Yahuwah. All of a sudden, I go to this job, and the dude who's like in charge over me, let's just say he, you know, acts like he's not the fondest of me. He's upset, we're like, you know, there's a little bit of something there, like bitterness or something he don't like about me. But in the Ruach, he's telling me, like, as it's manifesting that way in the physical, like, are you gonna, you know, like, man, I can't, you know, I'm still upset that you did that, did this, left that last job, you know, caught a case, like. So what I'm getting at, sometimes we might be receiving things from other people that may not be directly related to that situation in the present of why we think that person's acting that way. It might be actually Yahusha manifesting, responding to or reacting that way to something you did in the past. But you have to get into that mindset of the Ruach and dig deep. Always, that you get that only when you're talking to Yahuwah all day. You're constantly meditating. That person, it ain't that person. They don't exist. You're looking at Yahusha manifesting. You talk to him so much that even the people, you're not looking at what they're presently saying on this earth realm that's going to perish and fade. He's communicating something completely different face to face to you, what he's upset about. You know, something will manifest and you'll know it in the Ruach. That's an example. So here's the main point, though. Yeah, I just kind of want to speak on these things because I don't know, maybe someone needs to hear that. But it's about balance. And what I was talking about was, like, before I had too much, I was showing too much love. And I felt like I arrived because most people that I met were mostly easily given into bitterness, to like resentment, to hate somebody. And I was like, dude, no, you can't hate people. That's wicked. You know what I'm saying? Like, we gotta love our enemies. Well, here's what I realized. Some people are naturally built with that kind of love. Doesn't necessarily make it a good thing, because we can have too much of that and it could like pour into too much where we're not balancing it. Because this is the parable Yahuwah gave me, hormones, right? You look at hormones. If you have too much estrogen, you're gonna go on like this emotional, you know, crying, emotional, lovey-dovey, crying, emotional little spree or whatever. Like, you're gonna like pour out, and that's not healthy. There's no balance. You know what I'm saying? And that's from like the estrogen, like where love and stuff produces too, but like the emotions of love. But then if you have too much testosterone produces a lot of aggression, a lot of aggressive behavior, a lot of like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's the opposite. You know what I'm saying? So hate, it's going to produce more hate, bitterness, all that. So too much, either or is bad. You have to have both balance, and I didn't realize that. It's like your hormones. Love and hate, or love and I'm saying not to have hate, but like we have to make a distinction between the clean and unclean and favor those less, like regard others less. Because as the word says, to be a friend of the world is enmity with Yah. So here's what he revealed to me. For some people that are very prone to loving easily, that just have love in them to just give out, well, they're gonna relate themselves to the image of Yahusha, that is like peace and loving and like all loving and all forgiving and all caring and loving everybody, loving the wicked and all that. They're gonna be able to relate that peaceful hippie Yahusha, like just love everybody, love bears all things, hopes all things, just gonna forgive everything, which is true. But we forget to consider the Yahusha of the judgment, the Yahusha that is coming back with the sword, the Yahusha of vengeance, the Yahusha, the blood redeemer, you know, who's coming back to take vengeance on the wicked, you know, with the sword in his mouth. Like, we don't associate ourselves with that Yahusha, because we're focused more on the Yahusha when he came on earth to renew the covenant in his blood, who said, you know, I'm coming to forgive. I'm the manifestation of forgiveness. So now y'all need to forgive and love one another as I have done it. Because I do what my Father's doing, so y'all need to do what I'm doing. So we need to love one another until the judgment, you know. Let no one judge any matter until the judgment, right? No one judge, no one condemn no one until Yahusha returns to make that judgment call. Well, when we got too much love, you know, we associate ourselves too much with that lovey-dovey Yahusha part of him, because that was his forgiveness being manifested. But see, then you got people on the other side who maybe they don't have so much of that free love spirit there, where they can just love everybody. They more easily grew up in an environment or surrounding, or maybe it's, you know, brain chemistry and genes, but they're more geared to like separate themselves. They're the ones that probably more or less get involved in gangs, and they click up and they have their loyalty to their group. They know how to have a group of people who they're loyal to, and how to cut other people off, and how to even be hostile towards them. They're more geared towards like make a distinction to another group of people that you regard less, maybe even have bitterness or strive against, and they can hate them. And of course, gang life would kill, you know what I'm saying, retaliate, hate them. And that they relate more. They're like what you see the Hebrew Israelites more. They relate themselves more with the Yahusha of vengeance. They're the ones that Yahusha's coming back with vengeance and a double-edged sword to purge the wicked. So now you see these two different groups. You see people that, you know, inclined that they lean more in their soul and their nefesh and nafash. They're easily moved to, you know, be hostile, and you know, they can have that bitterness, and, you know, have like a hate towards people, and they can closely relate to the Yahusha of vengeance. They see that, so they feel justified. They're like, I can hate my enemy and all that, because Yahusha's coming back to destroy the wicked, and I'm with that. I'm already there. But they're not able to have the love. They're not demonstrating the love and compassion, though. They're like weak on that end. So if you look at like the parable of a hormone imbalance, they have too much testosterone, you know, boosting up, and their hormones is imbalanced and not enough estrogen. See what I'm saying? That's kind of how that parable is. That's why Yahuwah made testosterone and estrogen, because the body's perfectly created by Yahuwah. He created those things. He created the hormones. And the hormones are a parable of the balance of how we need to balance our love and hate, because there has to be a balance. And I like that, you know. And then you got the people who, you know, are more easily geared towards like loving everybody. Like, they naturally lean on loving. They can incline to that easy. They have an issue when it comes to hate. They don't want to hate nobody. They want to see a world of peace and everybody love everybody, and see a perfect world where it's just love. It's all about love and just love alone. And they don't want to wish bad on their enemy. They're ready to barack their enemy and this and that. Well, the problem with that is too much of that love, and they're loving their enemy in the sense where like they become friends with the world, where it says like a friend with the world is enmity towards Yahuwah. And they don't relate too much to the Yahusha vengeance. He's coming back with the sword. But they're more closely related to, you know, Yahusha when he manifested in the flesh, the forgiveness that came and died for us. And they're loving too much. They're showing too much love. See what I'm saying? And in a hormone imbalance prophetic, you know, parable, that's like somebody who has too much estrogen. You know, they're really emotional, really lovey-dovey and this and that, but they don't have the aggressiveness that it takes to like, you know, make that distinction between the clean and the unclean, and the righteous and the wicked, and cut off and to separate those who are not of their tribe, not of their their clique, their gang, you know what I'm saying? And that's supposed to be there. I didn't realize that. I'm having revelations. I thought Yahusha was like, everybody love everybody. I thought I arrived. I thought I was like, we're just supposed to love. And I can do that. But what Yahuwah revealed to me is everybody is called to be something they're not, in a sense. Like, we all have a challenge to overcome. You see what I'm saying? Like, you either have too much love and you need to learn to stop being weak. Like, I'm weak. Like when I was giving my message about being a whore, I was too nice. Like, you need to stop being the nice guy. I used to hear it all the time, especially now these last days getting older. I didn't realize it was Yahusha manifesting in people. People would always like kind of tell me like, you need to stop trying to be the nice guy and please everybody. But now, like in the Ruach, I'm perceiving it like Yahuwah talked in a way that was like, you're a whore, you're like dung, you're like, there was that part of him that I didn't want to see. Even though the prophets, the Nabim would say, thus say Yahuwah, and he would talk like, make these like dirty parables that was like gangster rap in a way. And, so basically, people would tell me like, you need to stop trying to please everybody. Man, I like in the Ruach, I felt like I heard it like, you need to stop trying to please everybody. Like, you're a whore. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're all up on everybody's being a whore. And I'm saying this because I know there's a lot of us that think we just got to love everybody. And to some extent, yeah, but nah, like, you can't just love the people in the world. We got to make a distinction between the righteous and the wicked. I'm too nice. You see what I'm saying? Like, I need to learn to, like, shell up and put a wall. That's my challenge. I need to learn how to get ready for the Yahusha of vengeance. How am I supposed to grab a sword and I'm like, wait a minute, I love my neighbor like everybody, you know what I'm saying? Like, we gotta be ready to, like, when he says sell your purse, that's what he meant by like the day's coming. You already went out and preached the word. Now I'm telling you, take your purse and sell your bags and buy swords with them, because Yahusha has to be counted amongst the wicked, like amongst like the shedders of blood, like King David, like he shed too much blood. Like, Yahusha must be counted amongst the wicked. Like, he's gonna shed some blood too. It's just the only way. And then that's in Luke. And then that's when they said, look, Master, that was at the Last Supper, like the account that gets excluded out of all the other accounts except Luke. And then in Luke it says, here, Master, we have 2 swords. And then he's like, that's enough. I don't know if he meant like, yeah, 2 swords, that's all we need. Or he's like, hey man, like, all right, let's just chill out. Like, you know what I'm saying? For another time. That day will come later. But let's go ahead and break this bread. And then you go to the other accounts. It's like, this is my body that was shed for you for the remissions of sins. This is my body broken of the renewed covenant, my blood shed for you for the remissions of sins. That's when all that goes down. And they was talking about the vengeance and slaying everybody. And I shall not drink this cup with you till, I come back, return at the vengeance. When Yahusha must be counted amongst the wicked, the avenger of blood, the kinsman redeemer. I forgot the word, but if you know that in Hebrew, please do share. There's a song, a sister in Hebrew puts it like, sounds kind of like Kohen Hagadol in a way, but Gadolema or Gadolem, I don't remember what it is, but it's like the Revenger of Blood. And that song's been a manifestation, like, what is that? And I'm looking it up, Revenger of Blood, and I kind of stirred up like, oh man, that's like promoting a Yahusha of hate. And I'm like, wait a minute, but that's biblical. That's like what he's coming to do. That's like what it's all about too. Like, he just came, this was an intermission to bring some forgiveness to renew a covenant. So he's the manifestation of that at that time. Just like if you have a moment when you're like forgiving somebody, it's going to be softly spoken and heart to heart. But at the same time, let's go to work and go to war and slay some of the wicked. So there's like those different dynamics in play. And that's how Yahusha's coming back. And so we got to get hormonally balanced. We got to get hormonally balanced in the Ruach. For those of you who have too much love, who feel like, I'm talking to myself, who think like it's just about a Yahusha of love and peace and love everybody, love your enemy. Yeah, he says love the enemy. Love those who, for a time, like he was giving me revelation. It's also in the context of like respect your enemy. Like when it says love your enemy, those who persecute you, it's sort of like, hey man, respect your enemy, like show respect, do good to them, like treat them respectfully, right? You got to work around them and this and that. but at the same time, he's preparing us for battle, for war. And not like it's like a Ruach war. I mean, it ain't going to be a physical thing. He's going to come to save us, and we're going to be turned into like Malakim, like, you know, we're going to turn into fire, like forms of fire, and purge the earth. It's just business, nothing personal. And we have to have that maturity, be ready for that. And that's what it is. It's just like that. And he's showing me that, like, he has been manifesting to me everywhere, work, here, there. Like, I need to start being a little more cold-hearted. Like, I need to start putting that wall up, time to get cold. Like, YAHUSHA already done preached the word. When the word done went out. You know, stop trying to please everybody. Quit trying to kiss butt and do things you're not supposed to with the world. Stop fornicating. Leave them alone. Stop trying to be friendly, lovey-dovey. Try to be peaceful, hippie, JC. You know, that's constantly making you smile and like, you know, giddy and like childish and immature in a way. In some ways, and start manning up and become a man. Like, so I'm getting a lot of manifestations that are teaching me to separate myself, and it's hard because everything in me wants to be nice. Like, I cannot like just like be cold-hearted and turn a cold shoulder, even though they're doing it to me, even though like the world does it to me. I had so much of that estrogen, right, in the Ruach, so much love that I still love them anyways. But it's like they didn't receive it. What does it say? Shake the dust off your shoes off of them, from their city, from their presence. You know what I'm saying? And like, put your wall up at them already. Like, you know, I never got that part. And so, but this isn't just about those who have too much love. This is also about for those who are lacking the good works, that haven't been sharing, loving their enemy and showing some respect and love and trying to win some over. Because then you got some people on the other side of the hormonal Ruach imbalance with too much testosterone, like the Hebrew Israelites I use as a symbolic manifestation of it. Oh, they're like, kill Esau, you know, banging on Esau, like kill Esau and the Edomites' wife. They're ready for vengeance. They're ready to off with their head and kiss my boot, lick the dust off my feet. You know, they want it. They want it bad. They don't want to forgive anybody. They're ready to kill the children of their oppressors and all that. They just want to kill them. But they haven't preached the word to them. They haven't like tried to. I mean, they so-called shared the word, but it's not in their heart to actually convert them. They're not actually doing it out of the love of their heart to want to see them saved if they're willing. Because Yahuwah's wanting none shall perish. But if they don't want it, hey, go then. Like, it has to be like a little bit of a, all right, then we ain't cool then. Like, we're not cool. I already shared the word. You didn't want it, so we can't be friends. And then you just have to like love your enemy, or like respect your enemy and do good to them, right? Pray for them that, you know, they come to the truth in a respectful way, not like, oh, I just love them so much. Oh, I pray just touch their heart, and oh, you know, they're like my brother. Like, you know, I can just see that, and that's something like I kind of struggle with. Like, I was able to see everybody in like it's a delusion in a way. Like, I saw them in another light that wasn't really there, but it's part of the love, hope, solve things kind of mindset. I was treating them like the brother I wanted to see them. And you do that for a time, right? You wink at the ignorance, but once you see that they're not coming to this walk, they're like, nah, bro, like, I love my world. Like, I'm about to fornicate this weekend and get high and whatever. Like, I mean, worldly. Like, why are you even joking with them? Like, when you joke with them, you're like fornicating with them. To share and to laugh and to joke with them, you're like their friend. That's what I'm trying to get you when I've been making my posts. Like don't give a smile, attention, a desire. Don't give it an interest. Anything they gotta say is like, I ain't got nothing. It's Crips and Bloods. You have to think Crips and Bloods. You do when you're thinking like someone who rejected the word. You know, and it's like, New Yerushalayim, eternal covenanted people, and the people of the world who reject it. It's got to be difference between Crips and Bloods. You got to learn how to be a little gangster and a little hard. Like, that's symbolic manifestation. All things, Yahusha's in all things. Yahuwah is in all things, and that apparently, like, he revealed to me, that's real. Like, that he's in that. Like, that's a part of his principle that he's now showing me in these last days. He's going to challenge us in these last days. I thought I arrived. And you know, we all say things like, man, just when I thought I knew everything, I realized I don't know nothing. You know, that whole thing, like, you know, the more I learn, the more I realize I don't know anything. I'm really feeling like that now. Because I feel like I'm really being born again now. Like, I really just had my bubble pop. Because I thought I arrived. Because I had, you know, y'all heard me talk about all the time. Oh, I always felt like I had a calling. Like, I was separated from the womb from the beginning. Like, he always had that, like, calling on me. Because I always felt, you know, separated from my childhood. In the sense that, like, I was different. Like, I always naturally had love for everybody. And I use that as my symbol. But we're all called to forsake something, you know, to offer something up, to, you know, to be challenged. Everybody is called to come out of Babylon. No one's exempt. There's no exception. Everybody's in some kind of false religion. Everything's rooted in Sunday paganism, you know, a lie. Even our way of thinking. I thought I had this love of YAHUSHA, but then he's telling me, nah, bro, you have too much estrogen. You're fornicating, you're whoring. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're being a friend with the world, though, so you're being too nice, and you're not winning anybody over. They're just laughing behind your back, mocking you. You get actually more respect out of them, and I have been, just being real, like putting up a wall. Even though it's hard for me, they probably buy it, but it actually hurts me, because I'm new to it. But I'm going to get it. Like, you know, Yahuwah's calling me, like, how are you supposed to slay people you don't want to slay? But you have to, like, want to just obey Yahuwah. Like, Yahuwah has to be your husband. You know, so I have manifestations. I have to submit to a man like I'm a woman. You know? And that's how I'm supposed to submit to Yahusha. And Yahusha's calling us like a ride-or-die chick. Like, hey, man, Bonnie and Clyde, we're killing these people. Let's do it. That's your word. Let's do it. And so I have to learn to apply that too. And we're all called to be challenged in that way, in the Ruach. Put up that wall, make that distinction. Don't be laughing and joking with the world. We're not of the world. We're just in it. Show love in a respectful way, you know, until the time comes. But for now, on the other end, that's for those who have too much love and estrogen. And I would actually, if I had to symbolically paint a picture, and I know I haven't, and it's past due because I haven't picked on them that much. My white people. White people are a perfect example of this. Like, they're very loving, easygoing, friendly. They'll, you know, that's why you see so much of it in Christianity is like, they'll befriend the world and do worldly things in the world and still call themselves a believer. You know, very lukewarm in a sense. But even in the actually, I don't know how they conduct themselves really in the Messianic movement. I just hear them preach a good doctrine. I'm not sure how their endeavors are as far as them reaching the world, how that goes. I know they do share a lot of love. They might be pretty unbalanced. I don't know. And I'm not racist, so I'm just calling it the way I see it. As far as the Messianic believers. Even though the brothers, all minorities for the most part, I just use the Hebrew Israelites in the sense of like the hate doctrine, you know, like, because we can really see like where that's too far left. You know what I'm saying? Where then you got people that are on that side where they have too much hate. It's like too much testosterone. They're just ready to cut heads off. And like Yahusha's going to be like, hey man, that was cool because I would come back for the vengeance for those who rejected the word. Now, who rejected your word? Because I didn't hear you try to preach the word to save anybody. You were just ready to line up with the sword. You out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to be excommunicated. So for those of you who struggle with actually loving people, you're more bitter, you're more easily fueled to be angered and ready to take vengeance, and you relate to the Yahusha of vengeance, man, balance it out. You got to balance out your hormones. You got to challenge yourself to love and actually share the word to your enemy. And yeah, straight up, I'm talking to mostly black people, because black people resonate with the captivity. So it's easier for them. They can trace it back pretty concrete. So it's easier for them to feel a certain type of way and feel hostile at, you know, the sons of the oppressor, at, you know, white people. And so they're naturally going to have a little inward bitter hate inside towards white people for what they've done to them. And you can't really blame them for it. But at the same time, that gives you no excuse. You have to challenge yourself. We're all called to come out of some type of emotional, mental Babylon, to transform, to push ourselves a little bit more. You got to push yourself to love your enemy. Like you had to be able to show Yahusha, demonstrate to him that you were able to show love towards your enemy. Because we're watchmen, right? He's gonna say, watchman sees the destruction, the judgment coming, and he blows the shofar and warns him. But if you don't warn the people, then I'm gonna require the blood at his hands. And yeah, you can easily say, well, plenty of people have done the warning part. I'm just called to be the judgment. That's probably how I feel. I discern, right? Yeah, I feel you in the Ruach. Some people are feeling that way. Some black folk feeling that way. They're feeling like, well, I'm more or less, called to take the vengeance. There's plenty of other people that are doing that part. That's their calling. Nah, man, we all call. You see a white man, and Yahuwah leaves opportunity. Oh, yeah, the word, something happens. You're going to have to share the word with them in love. And you ain't got to, push it. Just, plant the seed and be sincere. For once, don't look at his skin and he's a soul, a being, a nafash, right? A living conscious being that Yahuwah made in his image. No male, female, no white or black. Give him a shot. Give him a chance. Because he might be in the eternal kingdom. And you might not be. Because of that. And he might have received it from somebody else. But you stayed hostile. Condemn not or you'll be condemned. You already condemned. I'm not preaching to this white boy. He ain't trying to hear. He Christian, he lukewarm, he world, whatever. Nah, some you kind of feel inclination, some kind of show a little kind deed, help them out respectfully, show them love, and share a word with them, and then pray for them later, and then be done with it. But you got to show some kind of fruit in the sense that you were trying to do what Yahusha did, and willing, wanting, none shall perish, but all have everlasting life. So that's the word. We got to be ruachally, hormonally balanced, because we are ruachally, hormonally imbalanced. We got too much people trying to be lovey-dovey, loving the world, whoring with them, fornicating, being friends, laughing at their jokes. That's fornication. They yoked themselves and their hearts giggled together and became one. That's disgusting because it's of the world, That's what's happening in the spirit, in the ruach. So you gotta learn to man up and be hard, and just keep it business. Just talk about work. And I'm being trained right now. That's all manifesting. So I'm getting more respect for it. They actually cool, keep it real. I'm actually I was, but the thing was I was a whore, so I deserved the disrespect. Kissing butt, being a whore, trying to please everybody. But now it's I'm gonna be about my team. And so, in a sense, the racial divide has its prophetic purpose too. It's not racial, but the racial symbolism, the racial manifestation that contrasts the clean from the unclean, the wicked from the righteous. Because I'm not choosing any one race. I'm just saying the way that racial dilemma is manifested is really the way it should be manifested between the righteous and the wicked, the clean and the unclean. Not between white and black, because there's no Jew, no Gentile, no color. See what I'm saying? We're supposed to be able to eat the meat, spit the bones. Every little part of our chai demonstrates something eternal about Yahuwah, Yahusha, about the kingdom. We just have to see it through his eyes. Because everything that was formed by light. So it exists because there's light in it. Otherwise, it would be black, chaos. It wouldn't have no form. If it exists, there's a light in it. This is the light of men. It's the light that Yahuwah has brought out to bear something. Even the evil. Here's something to think about. I was meditating this with Roberto. I was telling him the other night, man, you know what? If you really think about creation, when Yahuwah first created the Shamayim and the Arets, there was no wickedness, there was no darkness, there was no evil. So there was no chaos, there was no need for judgment. They didn't even know what judgment was. I don't think they even had that concept there because sin had not been manifested. You see what I'm saying? In the Shamayim, it was they didn't have to have that discussion. I feel it was when Satan was hey man, let me do my own thing, and he started manifesting destruction and chaos. He was just taking the conveyor belt and moving things around, and things were falling apart in the warehouse, if you will, and he was trying to figure out how to assemble his own assembly line and structure and systems, right? in the mid, like out of chaos and doing his own thing. Well, through that came war and chaos and bloodshed and wickedness and evil. And then they look to Yahuwah, and Yahuwah's like, now watch what I do. I'm going to take destruction, and I'm going to take, plagues and wickedness and bloodshed, and now I'm going to show you how I make this look good, like how I use this for good, for light, for truth. And they're blown away because righteous right ruling had not been manifested. Judgments, you see what I'm saying, like discipline, punishment, they're like, they were new to it. It did not exist. It was just Satan trying to do his own thing, and it was chaos. And then only through then Yahuwah took what he messed up through what he was doing, and he's like, now watch how I use this chaos, and I'm gonna use it for those who do bad, this judgment, those the plagues, the bloodshed on the wicked, and this and that, work all things together for good. I don't know if you grasp what I'm saying, but it's like mind-blowing that Yahuwah, basically what I'm trying to say is Yahuwah is so good, so perfect, that anything he touches, he turns to good. You can give him something and he'll show you, he'll touch it and make it good. It's like an artist. You can give an artist a piece of trash and he'll make it useful for good. And that's what Yahuwah does. Let me see that fire, like something's burning something down, and he'll like take it and use it to like warm up something and cook and create something, make some bricks, and what I mean, like that's like what I'm trying to get at. And praise Yah, Yahuwah is awesome. Like, just wanted something to chew on. But that being said, what I'm trying to say is Yahuwah operates in everything. See, because that was Satan's own doing, chaos, and Yahuwah showed. He's like, let me show you my version of how I operate what you just did. And Satan was just doing it to destroy, but Yahuwah used it to create order. And they're like, whoa, they're blown away. In that sense, that's what I'm saying. Even in racial divide, the symbolism there is not about black and white, but righteous from the wicked. You don't try to figure out, well, who's the good guy, because you're looking at the racial divide still. You're still in the flesh. Look at the way the dilemma is stirred. But look at the way the ones who are maybe being oppressed divide themselves, though. But it's not a racial divide, but you want to probably reflect that more than the ones that are actually doing the oppressing. Because the wicked are going to oppress the righteous like that regardless. It's sad to say, there is a little bit of a racial, dynamic in there. But it's really more about the separation of righteous and the wicked. We're just trying to stay separate and live our own chai. But if you go to the hoods where people have suffered racial persecution, racism, all of that, right? Police injustice, brutality. Oh yeah, they don't associate with like the white people, right? Like, I'm gonna have to talk a little racist so you can get it. They keep to themselves. They ain't trying to mess around with the white folk. They just, because they're bitter, they're hostile. They're actually doing what we're supposed to be doing, is seeking the vengeance of the kinsman redeemer to come back. So a lot of it is manifested through a racial divide, but don't pin it on a racial divide. Use that just between the righteous and the wicked. So in a sense, that's why you do see the black folk, who I call the tribe of Ephraim, because Ephraim is the bond of Joseph, right? Yusa, who was sold into slavery by his brothers. Forgive them their prongings. It says, forgive them what they done to you. It says in Jasher 56 or 65, I believe it's 56:11. And Ephraim means I have prospered in the land of my affliction, just like black people have prospered in the land of my affliction. Joseph, whose the arms of his hands were made strong, black folk. So sadly, a lot of the racial part does play a role in this whole thing between the righteous and the wicked, and the Bible, the word, like the elect and the wicked, the righteous and the wicked. But it's not the main focus. It's not what you want to sell yourself out to is on a racial thing. you know, because you want to still make opportunity. There's a lot of good white folk out there. Obviously, we know that. And if you don't know that, then you're deceived. If you think all white people are condemned and like you can't trust white people, you're deceived. There's a lot of good believing white people, Christians, or even like moving into the Messianic movement, like coming into the truth is what I mean. Like they're getting there, you know. But yeah, there's obviously Yasharim that are of all colors, tribes, kindred, nations, people, and tongues. So we have to you know, make room for them in our hearts. You know, keep our mind and our heart open and available for them to be to yoke with them, to be one with them. Because if we put up a wall against them, then we really walled ourselves out. We put up a wall against them, and we realize we're the ones standing outside the wall, out of the city. You know what I'm saying? So don't put up no wall, because you might put up a wall and realize, you know, you ever seen those cartoons where the you know, the Wile E. Coyotes building up a brick wall, or they're doing something, and then when they turn around, they realize they done snared themselves, right? Them clever things. That's what you might end up doing. So don't do that. You're gonna snare yourself. Leave opportunity for everybody. You know, I'm speaking to those who are on the hormonal imbalance of testosterone, of ready for the vengeance of Yahusha. This is for you. Notice I've went in a little bit more in depth, a little more heartfelt for you, because you need heartfelt, you need love. You know what I'm saying? I'm loving you gently, taking my time expounding this for you. You have to make room in your heart for all races, and even some white folk, you know, keeping an open mind, open heart to be tested on that. Know Yahuwah is going to be testing you on that, because we're all called to be challenged in every way possible. So if there's something that you know is a challenge for you, best believe that's where you're going to be tested the most. Feel me? So I feel like that's really the end of the message right there. And just, you know, I need to work on that. Like, it was like takes all my thoughts out, wipes me clean, and I need to end it. I always try to like, hold on, I feel like I missed something, like I need to share one more thing. But yeah, basically everybody else though can grasp, every nation, tribe, kindred, people. I got another word, last bit of word. I remember what it is. Every nation, tribe, kindred, people, and tongue can grasp the heart, the idea of what black people feel and go through. We can. We see it. We see what y'all are like, what y'all manifest and demonstrate, having been oppressed, and you're sort of like bitter and just kind of like rightly so. But you know, be willing to forgive. But I'm actually saying we have to reflect y'all. We have to be like the black people in this thing. And I never thought I'd say that, because like racial divide, racial thing was like the furthest thing that I thought I would ever say. But it's not about a racial thing. It's the picture that they demonstrate, the manifestation. Yahusha's using that to demonstrate and oppress people and how they respond to it. Because it's easier for most, you know, colors, tribes, kindred, people, and tongue to you know, be cool with, you know, white people or people that have oppressed, Spanish people, I don't know. But we like them, you know, for the most part. You know, minorities, like all the world, for the most part, if I'm going to be honest, for the most part, and generally, I mean, maybe it's just me talking, but I think that for the most part, in a sense, in a general stance, most people, most nations, like, love white people. Like, they want to be American. They like want to be American, right? We always see that there's parables about that. It says, like, you try to be like your oppressors, right? There's books and psychologies about, you know, like, people, I forgot, it's called something syndrome. It's like after you've been oppressed or whatever, now you're trying to be just like your oppressor. You're trying to dress like them, be just like them. And that's not to point, you know, anything attack white people or nothing like that. It's just the symbolism it portrays when it comes to reflecting the wicked from the righteous. You know, you can see that more blandly, you know, drawn out. Because you can be Asian black, you can be black and be wicked, right? We got plenty of those, right? We know that. Even though you've been oppressed or whatever, that doesn't justify you, you know, pimping and drug dealing and stealing and killing and whatever, you know what I'm saying? It don't justify you, being wicked or like just rejecting Yahusha. It don't justify that, So there can be wicked of all kinds of nation, kindred, people, and tongue, but we see it bestly demonstrated through the black and white racial dilemma. It's a prophetic demonstration. It's a parable. It's a living parable for us. We need to be like how the black people are, in their oppression, feel. We need to. That's Yasharal. It really is. That's Ephraim. Black people really are Ephraim. Ephraim. They say they're Judah. I actually would beg a difference, say they're Ephraim, because Ephraim is the firstborn who sound the shofar out of Mount Ephraim to call the people back together to worship Yahuwah, who sounding the shofar more than all the other people to come back together. The black tribes, they got all kinds of black teachers, YAHUSHA, to come back to the ancient path, doing the most, putting out the best music, putting some style in there, putting some flair on it. It's anointed in that way, and in a real way, in that vengeance way, in that very real raw way that has a balance of testosterone and estrogen, a balanced way, because Christianity has a very good heartfelt spirit as well, but I feel like that's where a lot of the estrogen type spirit comes from, is like it gets you very in your emotions, very heartfelt. You feel the spirit, you feel the emotion, makes you want to cry, and that can promote a lot of that estrogen type spirit, love for your enemy, love for everybody, want to see a world of peace. Well, guess what the world's going to be doing in the last days? The world is going to be declaring peace. They're going to try to unite a one world government, one world culture. And guess what? It's going to be that Christianity delusion. So a lot of those listening to a lot of that, it's actually going to blend in. LGBT are listening to it too. Like everybody's going to be listening to a lot of that stuff. And it's going to be part of that great delusion, because it's going to feel so real. There's a spirit behind it, and it's mostly feminine. It's estrogen. It needs to be more masculine. Like you read a lot of the Psalms, it's more about vengeance. It's always about vengeance. Like strike those who strike me. Like slay a snare for them and take vengeance on my enemies. And all this kind of thing. And obviously we don't pray like that, but it's just demonstrating, manifesting the heart that does reside in a very real way, that we do feel, that we can relate to. But we know, Yahuwah, vengeance is Yahuwah's. We pray for them that none shall perish, but they come to it. But at the same time, if they don't, then they're not part of us. We just put up our wall and we're Crips, their Bloods kind of thing. Or we're Bloods and they're Crips, right? Because the blood of Yahusha. So we're Bloods because of the blood of Yahusha, right? If you want to look at it that way. But then we wear blue tzitzit. Nah, but these are just concepts to grasp. You want to grasp. This is really the Ruach revealing this to me. I've always been against that gang type mentality, but yet I've always saw a lot of loyalty out of it. But I was never the loyal one. I kind of delved in that growing up as a teenager, hanging out with the thugs and the gangsters. But yet, while we're all, supposed to be a clique and, to each other, I'm the one out there trying to make friends with other people and hey, let's hang out with other like them. I was being a whore. I'm saying? I'm just whoring myself out, fornicating, not being loyal to the clique. And that's something that I never learned. I'm just now learning now. I'm just now learning how to, I don't even know how to put it because that's so new to me. But how to show love and respect the enemy, but not be their friend. Just we just don't flock together. We just don't roll together. I don't know how else to put it. We ain't cool. We ain't cool like that. That's the only way I can put it, is in a very simple way. Hey man, we respect each other at work, but we ain't cool like that. That's all it is. And y'all forgive me if I laugh at something you gotta say. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm learning that as I see it manifested, because that's just how it is. You don't see Crips and Bloods if they gotta work with each other in jail or in a workplace. They just gotta work with each other. They gotta deal with it, but they're not about to make friends. Let that not go around. Let not that be heard. So, sorry. This is a very real thing. And Yahusha's now letting me realize, like, in this very last day, that now it's time to sell your purses and grab your swords. You know what I'm saying? And of course, not a real sword, but in your heart. Sword of the Ruach, right? In your heart. Like a sword that's like ready for the vengeance of Yahusha. Because time's up. And Yahusha's letting me know this. Like, you know, the reason I did feel all that lovey-dovey was not in vain. It was so in me what he was doing. For this whole time, he was manifesting the love and forgiveness, giving the world time to repent. But lately he's been shifting everything. Like, I've been listening to him, and he's been like really making it very clear to me that it's time to like leave your oppressors alone and stop trying to win them over. Share a word if you can, or just like be a light. Like, just do what you gotta do to survive, and you gotta work around them, whatever. Be respectful, be kind, whatever. Like, hey, yeah, let me see that. Okay, cool, thank you. And that's it. But keep to yourself, keep the commandments, love your Yahusha, do your thing. And if they want to ask you something or try to, like, they can, you know, ask questions. See, when you separate yourself, if they're meant to come to the truth, they'll come to you. Like, if you know, that's how you know. You know what I'm saying? Like, we shouldn't be trying to please everybody, kiss butt, and all this stuff we're not supposed to be doing. We're not supposed to be all up on them like that. You know what I'm saying? We just, like, conduct ourselves accordingly to what as we need to for work purposes, and keep to ourselves. And if they want to engage with us, that might be by the Ruach. The Ruach might be giving them an inclination to, like, desire, like, why are you different? What do you have that I don't? Like, I want to know what makes you so different. You know, like, you have something I don't have, and I want to kind of I want to learn more about it. Then if they start kind of manifesting those things, then y'all can start talking a little bit about it. But don't be ready to give it up. Don't be no whore and gives it up. You see what I'm saying? Like, you always teaching me to have this mentality. And it's not in vain. Maybe some of y'all already have it, but I feel like most of us don't. Like, in this day and age, like, we are so far from it, but it's really everything opposite to what we thought. You know, like, they call evil good and good evil. And man, did that really take a toll? Like, did that really take a loop for take us for a loop in this sense, right? Because we thought gang type of mentality. See, the world created a false delusion of what Yahuwah, you know, used to show, like, cultural separatedness, cultural kadashness, right? And for Yasharal, but had the world, like, create this delusion where it was manifested the right way, but through Crips and Bloods, through gangs, but only manifested a little more hostile. I'm not talking about the hostility and the killing, but that separatedness that they have towards each other in gangs. That's like what Yasharal is supposed to be like. We're supposed to be the light, and they, you know, they see us and they can ask about it, you know, but we ain't supposed to be kissing butts and they can come to us with that. So we're supposed to be like that. We're supposed to be like black. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what the Ruach is putting on me. Like, I'm just being stupid with it. I'm not being stupid. I'm just trying to keep it simple. Like, we're supposed to be like that mindset. It really was like that. Like, you know, a little bit of that gangster thing. I'm not saying be all gangster, like, put pride, put hostility in you. The symbolism of, like, you keep to your own kind, your own gang, your own pack, your own clique. You don't just let anybody in. You're not trying to be all friendly. You're not trying to you let them come to you. And when they come to you, don't just give in and give it up and be best friends because they ask you one or two questions. Now you're all excited to Bible study with them like a whore, like a happy giddy little gullible unwise thing. No, you gotta be wise as a serpent. Like, if they want it, let them ask about a Bible study. You gotta make it hard for them. You see what I'm saying? You gotta make it hard for them. That's what he was showing me. Like, we're trying to give it up freely. Now, we gotta put value on it in this day and age. That's why it says they shall seek to and fro to find it. And, like, they shall go to one who knows books. And they're like, I can't read it. Because, like, they're going to be desperate for it in that day. But it'll be too late. But we have that word. Make them work for it, Yasharal. Let's be men about it. It's time to really sell our purses, our bag. Like, that's why Yahusha says, sell your purses. It's time to put the man bags away. Buy the swords of the Ruach. Be more, zealous in that way. Be a zealot. Be a zealot. You know, my brother Norberto manifested that to me the other day. I'm like, what's a zealot? He's like, somebody who's like hardcore for the cause, you know, like a warrior. Like he's got the army, the justice, the campaign on his mind. He's ready for the vengeance. We got to get that mindset ready, because that's what Yahusha is preparing now. I never had that mindset. And if he's putting that in me by the Ruach, not that I'm anything special, I'm just speaking from my experience, my own personal experience with Yahusha. If he's putting that in me that I can pick up on, then I'm saying these things. And if you feel like some of this is somewhat true, like this is sort of revelation, this is sort of, then no, this is true. This is by the Ruach. Because I'm a softie. You can ask anybody. I got love. I love my enemy. My mom was a loving person. She taught me to, you know, like, see the good in everybody. People just need love, and that'll heal them. And now Yahusha's like, nah, man, like, everybody done got enough love, you know, and they ain't came to the truth. They're just laughing behind your back. You actually don't even know it. They're just annoyed by you anyways, showing all that love. Start showing them that you ready for the vengeance. That, you know, I'm sharpening your sword right now for you. And a real sword in the Ruach. In a sense that the judgment. But in the Ruach right now, when like we put our wall up, walk out our own, keep to each other, love each other, we should not be arguing at this point. We should have more respect for each other. When you adopt that mindset, like we're a gang, like we're a clique, like we're Crips and Blood type mentality, man, they don't fight, they don't argue against each other. That's unheard of. Like, it's the utmost disrespect to argue with each other, and you're supposed to be family. So we're not doing that no more. And I'm not about to call y'all out on that, because that would make me doing the same thing. You just better get it together, or like I'm just gonna cut you off. Like, I just won't talk to you. But if you see people that are ranting constantly, or, you know, just leave them alone until they weed themselves out or get it. But we're not doing that no more. We're supposed to be a family at this point. Get it together, love each other like we're truly the brotherly love. We're a gang. We're a motorcycle gang, right? We're all of that. However you want to look at it. But we're clique, and we don't disrespect each other. We don't talk down each other. We don't like harshly correct each other or put each other down. We go to each other in private. Not because, you know, what's what Yahusha would want us to do, to like, because the Bible says go with them in private. No, because you really love your brother that much. You're not trying to put him on blast publicly, trying to correct him. Like, it's time to get the love right. It's time to get the loyalty for each other right. That we're a nation. We're Yasharah. It's time to stop trying to kiss up to the wicked and these people that reject it, because the judgment's coming. It's time to sell your purses and be a man and sharpen the sword of the Ruach and put up a wall. Love your enemy respectfully and do what you got to do according to whatever the work responsibility is. But other than that, we ain't cool. We're just not. We're not the same. We're just not. That's how it has to be at this point. You know, identify with the black oppression. You know, we're looking for the vengeance, because that's the symbol, and they have been, and that's Yasharah, and we're grafted into that too as well. That's Ephraim, the firstborn bond, and we're the brothers. Aman. Hallelujah, YAHUSHA. And with that, I bid you farewell. May Abba Yahuwah favor you and increase you. May he guard you and protect you and strengthen you. Abba Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and be compassionate towards you. Abba Yahuwah lift his countenance toward you and make you radiant with all his esteem, and give you his shalom, fill you with all shalom and all the fruit of the Ruach towards each other, towards the clan, towards Yasharah, towards the tribe, that we may man up, carry our swords, put up our wall, love and respect, pray that, hey, if that's his will to save them, they'll come to us, but be done with the world at this point. I pray and plow this, and petition, declare this by the power of the blood of the renewed covenant, by the power and authority of King Yahusha, our Hamashiach, our Adon, our Elohim, our King of Kings and our Prince of Peace, and our Kuhan Hagadol, forever and ever. Aman and aman and aman. Hallelujah, Yahusha. Shalom, shalom, Yasharah. Shalom, shalom, Mashbaka. Shalom, shalom. Love you.